My goodness. Look at that crisp, fine grain of 16mm film, each frame physically processed at the prestigious Kodak lab in Pinewood Studios. This story should be about this, achieving my filmmaking dreams, shooting on film in my hometown, working with an Emmy-winning cinematographer, going to South by Southwest. But instead, it's about this, ChatGPT. And crucially, whether it makes any difference that this guy was involved. See, when I make something, I take a series of inputs. My knowledge, experience, emotions, creativity. I sort of rattle it all around in my head, then spit it out. So am I a large language model? Well, maybe. But there are things AI can do better than I can. And there are things I can do better than AI. But when that line gets blurry, I want to know honestly. Does it make a difference? See, back when ChatGPT was just starting to gain traction, my friend Yasmin pointed me to an open call for artists to create films supporting a new mental health awareness campaign by Public Health Wales called Hapus, the Welsh word for happy. I proposed an idea to use digital technology, social media and AI, things often blamed for an increase in poor mental health, to reflect the state of how people are feeling. I didn't think much of it, but then they replied and said, yeah, go on then. To begin, I sent out a TikTok asking people one simple question. What makes you happy? Then, no matter what people commented, whether it was totally honest or a completely offensive post, I added it to a prompt inside ChatGPT, kindly asking it to construct a 3-minute film script inspired by the comments. Now I really wish this bit was simple, but the truth is, it was not. I wrote and rewrote that damn prompt so many times I basically could have written an entire 3-minute script myself 25,000 times over. ChatGPT is a writer, sure, but ChatGPT is not a producer, so what we often ended up with was the most insane, unfilmable mess imaginable. Given that we're based in Wrexham and our videos have included such popular series as eating fish and chips at every chippy in the county, we got a lot of things like that. My personal favourite being the script, a sort of comedy/Mexican standoff featuring Ryan Reynolds in Joneses. But after many tweaks, tweak, we ended up with the perfect screenplay, a simple story of a student striking up an unlikely friendship with a man at a local park and learning to play the violin, with just the right amount of twists and whimsy to carry it through. Now, it was around about this time I brought Leighton on board.
Get what's important, right? Hashtag clean builds.
Not only is he shooting some top films and series across Netflix, Disney and more, but he's a good local lad, and we've been making things together now for around 6 years.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you heading tonight?
Back inside.
Shit.
And that's when he added a gem of an idea into the mix. What if, to contrast this whole AI thing, we shot the film on Analogue, physically? It was beautiful. Once I heard it, I could not let go of it. But, of course, play silly games, win silly prizes. The current cost of a reel of 16mm film, including development, is approximately £450 per 11 minutes. Yes. And while we were feeling bold, we made another big decision. The film would be silent, no dialogue, just music. Which is cool because it really ramps up the whole musical/learning to play the violin theme, and it does also save us some ChatGPT prompt tweak hell. But it adds a lot of pressure to another side of things. The casting. Look, if you're burning 50 quid a minute and all you have to tell your story is your location and actors' expressions, well, you'd better get it right. We opened up for actor applications and eventually screen tested Rebekah. This gave me the chance to try out some of my thoughts on the look and feel of the film before we really went for it. We also cast David, an actor from a local theatre, the older person that Rebekah befriends in the film, and my goodness, I think we nailed it.
Bollocks.
Look at those facial expressions. They really know how to sell silence. We rounded out the rest of the crew with Louise, a DP experienced in shooting film, to help us through the shoot, plus our local filmmaking wizards. Equipment was generously provided by Sunbelt Rentals, and with my producer hat on, the final step was to take ChatGPT's script and lock it in as a shooting script, with some minor adjustments, switching a couple of locations and making sure it was all practically doable without losing the content or essence. We prepared to shoot the whole thing in just 2 days. I don't think ChatGPT was as nervous as I was. After a little bit of mapping things out and testing stuff, we decided to get shooting. One big problem we encountered immediately was a total lack of buses.
Okay, can somebody just look for a bus and we'll take the next bus?
Yeah, there's a bus coming.
Okay?
But we just need, okay, if it keeps going, if it looks like it's going to keep going, we should roll it.
Okay.
Oh, we f***ed it.
The bus.
Yeah, a little bit ironic for the bus station.
And action. I'd say one. It's got to be one, or we f***ed up the whole day. Yeah.
Thankfully, after a little bit of waiting,
Action.
we got the one we needed.
Cut there.
Outside the bus station for the next shots as we were approaching the end of the day because it took so bloody long for a bus to arrive, we had the exact opposite problem. Now we couldn't get one to leave at the right time.
Oh, he's pulling up. Hang on, he's pulling up. Okay, just waiting for it to go.
10 quid, 20 quid,
And action.
30 quid, 50 quid. And if you're wondering why we're looking so upset, it's because we just burned through about 50 quid worth of film. As we moved into day 2 and powered through the shots at the local park, I think we may have had every type of weather. We were battling harsh sunshine,
We'll have to wait for clouds, but it'll be worth getting in position.
we were battling rain at one point, and conveniently, of course, to match my mood perfectly, we had the dark, miserable sunset right at the very end.
And action.
Honestly, this cost a lot of money. I spent a lot of people's time on it too, and I just did not know if it would even work.
And cut.
Bright and early, arising in my 4-poster bed somewhere on the outskirts of High Wycombe, I fastened the film's seatbelt and headed towards the most famous film studios in the world, Pinewood. The staff at Kodak were kind enough to give me a full tour, answering every silly question I had about the developing and scanning process my film was about to enter. I was like a kid in a candy store. It was amazing watching all that film swirling around in all those chemicals.
How often do you get Super 8 in here?
Analogue.
Really? Okay.
And of course, I found some time to have a quick wander around.
Found the 007 stage. James is going to be jealous of me.
But there was only really one question that mattered. Did we actually get it done? Was it in the can? I shouldn't have been worried. Crisp, beautiful grain, perfect focus and movement, it all worked, and even the rapid weather changes totally doing my head in on set at the time played to our advantage, making the 2 days appear as maybe even months on screen. Relieved and totally re-energized, I got stuck in, cutting the entire thing together in just 2 edit sessions, and with a little input from Leighton, we had a final version in no time. Given that the script from ChatGPT was simple, and we only had enough time to shoot the minimum amount of footage required, there really wasn't much else for me to do other than follow the blueprint and choose the best takes. But I did make some small tweaks to the ending for maximum impact, which is obviously kind of important. Look, we started off this entire journey by proposing a simple question. Does it make a difference if AI is involved? Well, let's check the evidence so far, shall we? Yes, ChatGPT wrote the script, but the input was written by humans. I had to tweak the prompt a million times to make it usable. I had to switch locations to make it shootable, and now I'm editing the ending to make it better. So, I think perhaps what we need is another layer. To really push this question. And luckily, the theme of our film happens to require some more writing. In the form of music. The film is about learning to play music, analog. Therefore, I became obsessed with the idea that in order to finish the film, I needed to learn to play music digitally. AI. That way the film is a perfect analog mirror of my own struggle in the real world to utilize new technology. Beautiful synchronicity, right? Art. Luckily, just as I was searching for inspiration, I happened to be heading to one of the world's capitals of innovation. South by Southwest Festival in Austin, Texas. South by Southwest is one of the world's largest tech conferences, which, helpfully, also happens to be a prestigious film and music festival, all at the same time.
This is the Paramount Theatre, where all the premieres are happening this week.
And while I was there, supporting Focus Wales, I happened to discover Darcy, a company based back in Blighty, working at the cutting edge of AI and composition. Good how things work out like that, isn't it? And with that, we scored pun intended, another good bit of mirroring, as Darcy uses ethical AI working alongside human composers to create music and speed up workflow. So, with that, our grand experiment to bring together humans and AI to complete a film is also complete. So, in the interest of the future of humanity and creative expression, I present to you Happiness, a 16mm short film. The only question that remains is, now that you've seen the entire process and the use of AI,
Does it make a difference?
If you'd like to see the full 16mm film, head to our channel or follow the link below. But before I headed back from the US, I thought there might be just one more place that might be interested in our research.
Pinewood Studios, baby. I've got something to show you.
Excuse me, my name is Rob. I have something to deliver. I think it might be important.